Hey, good morning. Welcome back to your most current edition of our Canna-Yoga practice. We're going to give Frankie a shot again today to hang out with us and possibly just lay down and not get super crazy when we start to do a little yoga. I haven't been working on that last video because he was so excited. I'm going to have to chop some of it. So come over here, lay down. Come lay down over here. Yeah, good boy. Come here, lay down. Lay down. You stay right there. Don't get crazy on me, okay? Stay. Good boy. This morning we're going to talk a little bit about our cannabis, as we always do. In our last video that I haven't sent to you yet, we were working on, we were talking about using concentrates in our flower bowls. So if you're in a place where you kind of want to try some wax, some concentrates, but you're like, oh my God, dabbing seems so scary. We've got, torches and glassware that gets super hot, and it can be a little intimidating for those who haven't had the opportunity to be taught the correct way to, kind of do dabs or work on concentrates. So the way I like to instruct people is to give them, you start with a layer of flour, you put the flour into the bowl, and then you layer a little bit of your concentrate on top. And so when I'm talking about concentrates, I'm talking about, they call it wax, it's called butter, sugar, shatter. Gosh, I'm sure there's like 10 other different names for the different types of concentrated cannabis. Most often it's made through extraction. They'll use like propane or butane to extract the THC, the cannabinoids, out of the plant matter. Sometimes they'll use heat and pressure. That's called rosin. So rosin is a full spectrum. All the cannabinoids are still in there. We just heat press them out so we have access to use them in a concentrated form. So we can go into more detail about that. If you'd like, reach out. We can do a consultation on dabbing. I can show you a dab rig, show you how it's used, all of that good stuff. So real quick before we start, I just want to make sure that you all are getting a good visual. It's a little dark for me, so we'll make sure that we're going along here today. So again, we're going to take the opportunity to really honor our cannabis, right? It's super important that we honor our cannabis, that we are mindful about our cannabis, right? So often we just kind of go about our day doing whatever it is. We just drink water willy-nilly, we just eat food willy-nilly, and there's no intention behind it. And so one of the things I practice and I like to teach is mindfulness, intentionality, right? When we use intention to go about our day, there's more reward, right? When we say, I'm going to do it this way, and we're successful, we're like, yes, I'm so glad I chose to do it that way. Instead of, oh, well, why didn't that go right? Or why did that fall into my lap that way? We need to think about how those things come about. And sometimes without being mindful, we're not really sure where it came from, right? So, just taking a moment here, taking a big inhale in through the nose, closing the eyes, sitting up nice and tall. Taking a moment here, maybe to smell your cannabis bowl or flower, whatever you're working with. Maybe taking that dry hit. As always, having the opportunity to taste those terpenes before we get ignited is a really beautiful way to connect with your plant. And as we ignite and take our first hit, we just take a moment to give blessings to our Mama Ganja. Saying thank you for this beautiful weed that grows in so many areas of this world. Thanking it for putting off that beautiful crystalline substance that not only protects it from the elements and the animals around it, but also allows us to get a little deeper, to go a little closer to that interior, to really connect with the divine. Taking another hit if you like. Saying thank you again. Just taking a moment maybe here to reflect on an intention you'd like to set for our practice today. My intention changes every day, pretty much throughout the day. The intention changes, right? When we're living mindfully or moving intentionally about the world, those things are always going to change. So sometimes my intention looks like an affirmation. I'll say, I am, and then finish that sentence, or I have, and I finish the sentence, as if those things are already coming to fruition, as if they're already mine, already done, already wrapped up in a pretty little box with a tight little bow on top. Maybe my intention some days looks like wrapping myself up in a blanket of color, or a strong word or energy. What is it that your intention looks like today? Harness that, settle into that. Remember that at any time throughout our practice, you can always pause the video, or if I give the opportunity for you to take a break, you can grab a hold of your cannabis and re-elevate if that's necessary for you. Or maybe placing that cannabis down, taking a moment to draw the hands to the heart, dropping your chin to your chest, just locking in that intention, setting it strong. And then your eye gaze comes open and forward, and we'll go ahead and get started. Nice work today. So, we'll see how Frankie behaves in that last video. Like I told you, I'm still editing because he got so crazy. So hopefully he's a little more chill today. I'm really wanting him to get used to being in the yoga room with us and getting to experience the practice, hopefully in a calm way. So we're gonna get started on our hands and knees today. I love that cat-cow to get started because we can get that beautiful spinal flexion going. So get your knees underneath your hip points, get your hands underneath your wrists, and start to press down through those toes behind you. Start to squeeze into your spider grip. Remembering our spider grip is the pressing of the top, the tip of the finger, and also the pressing where it starts to push into the palm. That's our spider grip. That's where our activation occurs. We squeeze into that spider grip, we pull in that sternum to meet the belly, and we reach the crown of the head long. On the inhale, the tailbone reaches to the sky, the belly drops, and your eye gaze comes forward or maybe up toward the corner of the wall a little bit here. And as you exhale, start to push away. Use that tailbone to start each wave. Tuck the chin to the chest last here and squeeze and push. Stop, Frankie. No. No. I love you very much. I do. Inhale, drop the belly, eye gaze up. And exhale to push away. Inhaling to look up. And exhaling to push away. Good. Last time. Inhaling to drop, look up. Smile, soften your jaw. And exhale to push away. Sinking back, bringing the big toes to touch, sending your knees nice and wide, walking the belly out between the thighs and forehead down. Taking a few breaths here to connect the third eye with the mat. Come lay down. Come here. No, lay down. Oh, you're being such a little butthead. Oh my goodness, this dog, stop! Stop it! Sinking your hips back down to your heels if they're not there already. Working on this extended child's pose. He totally thinks I'm playing. On your next inhale, pull onto your palms. Start to shift yourself forward. Curling onto the toes, lifting those knees and hovering. Starting to find our downward facing dog as we press our belly to the thighs and lift the hips up to the sky. Shake your head no. And nod it yes. Of course, he's also shedding really bad. So now I have a blanket of dog hair on my mat. Shake that head no. Exhaling to nod it yes. On your inhale, lift that right leg up to the sky and drop it in front of the left. We're going to take a little tightrope walk up to the top of the mat. Inhaling to lift the left leg, dropping it down in front of the right, center of the mat. Inhale, right leg, bring it forward. And once you start to get to a place where you need to bend something, arms or legs, I want you to start to bend the knees instead of the arms. This is going to help you start to work on tucking your pelvis underneath you and pulling those legs underneath you. On your inhale, come up for a half lift. Create a figure 7 here. So your spine goes nice and long. If I were to come around, I could place a little teacup on your low spine. Your fingertips can be on the floor, they can be on the shins, or they can also be on the thighs. We peel those shoulder blades back like we're a grasshopper. Exhale and hinge it forward, releasing down, shaking the head no, and nodding it yes. Grabbing for opposite elbows here and just allowing the crown of the head to hang heavy. Breathing in deep. As you inhale, you become expansive. As you exhale, the belly softens against the thighs, allowing the crown of the head to hang even deeper. The elbows holding on here with those hands is allowing you to peel that crown a little closer toward the mat. Maybe you gently start to rock it side to side here, feeling those hips. Here it should feel like there's a string reaching out of your tailbone, and it should feel like your butt cheeks are actually pulling toward opposite sides of the room. That's normal, okay? Opening up that anus. Release your fingertips down. Inhale, half lift. Exhale here. And then root to rise. Stack one vertebrae at a time. Let the chin hang heavy, and then let the head be the last to rise. Shoulders come down. We reach those fingertips down to come up to the sky. As you tuck the tailbone, cactus the arms. Make a little back bend. Inhale up. Let's flow. Swan dive forward. Come on down. Uttanasana. Inhale is our half lift. This resets our spine for that figure 7. And then forward fold. Bend the knees. Step with your right foot first, all the way back. Let's start to look at our lunge. Before we even get into that full plank, we're going to look at our lunge here. So left knee is over that left ankle. We're squeezing an imaginary block between those thighs to activate that pelvic floor. This left thigh is parallel with the mat below. We're framing the foot with the hands by squeezing into that spider grip. Then peel your left foot in towards your body and kick it back. This is your plank. Pull your shoulder blades back and your collarbone forward. Squeeze into that spider grip. First round, we shift it forward. Drop down to the knees. Keep your toes curled. Keep your booty lifted. And then shift it even farther forward so you feel extension through your pelvis. Then bend those elbows in to hug your body. You're literally laying on those arms. Then the chest and chin tap. And you kick those legs out. Tops of the feet into the mat. Inhale up for cobra or baby cobra. So with our baby cobra, our hands can come off the mat. We're lifting our chest and our chin forward. And exhale to soften. Curl onto the toes. We're going to push up through the hands and then either roll through the knees or press straight up into your plank. Shift it back. Find your downward facing dog. Shaking the head no. Letting go of anything that's coming up. And nodding it yes. Pressing away from your palms. Inhale, lift that right leg high to the sky. Open stack. So I want you to start by pressing into the palms and reaching your right toe up to the sky. Feeling length from that left heel all the way up to that right toe. Then bend your right knee and reach your right toes toward the front left corner of your mat. Good. Press evenly between both hands. Square your shoulders. Swim that right knee around, up, and through. Find your flamingo. So peeling the right knee towards your nose, your right heel towards your booty. This gets it out of the way so you can shift forward on those back toes and then kick that right foot in between the hands. Remember, if you struggle with that, just drop down to that opposite knee and swim it around first. Then you can curl back on those back toes and find that lunge. Good. Left hand into the mat, right arm reaches to the sky. Starting to twist it out here. Reach those fingertips up toward the ceiling. Smile. Reaching the crown of the head. Opening that chest toward that thigh. And windmill it down. Frame the foot. Let's push forward on that right foot and lift the left leg up toward that L shape. Flex your left foot behind you and push out of that standing leg. Don't lock out through the knee, but push through that standing leg. Exhale. Left foot down to meet the right. Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, let's half lift. Exhale, hinge it forward.
Inhale, let's slow root to rise. Be mindful here. Keep a bend in the knees. Trace a line up the front of those legs. Keep your tailbone tucked, shoulders back. Reach the fingertips down to come up to the sky. And exhale, let it go. Inhale up. Palms down through heart center. Hinge it forward, sweeping that booty back and releasing the crown of the head down toward the mat. Bend the knees, frame your feet. Left foot, way back. Finding that lunge on this right side first. So right knee over right ankle. Working to one gig at this right thigh, parallel with the mat below. Then squeeze that imaginary block to activate your pelvic floor and kick back through those left heels. Press down through the hands, pull that right knee in, pull that right heel in, then kick it back, finding your plank. Now in our plank, we want to push back through those heels. We want to tuck in through that pelvic floor. We want to peel our collarbone between our shoulder blades. Shift it forward, drop down to the knees. Hug your elbows into the side body. Chest and chin, tap, belly flat, tops of toes. Inhale. This time lift up, press out of your hands, and then let your hips fall back to the mat. Finding our first cobra. Good, releasing it down first. Then pressing off, curling on the toes. Maybe you find your plank or move through those knees for your downward facing dog. Shake your head now. And nod a yes. Give a little thanks here. Press evenly between those palms. Really squeeze into that spider grip. And on your inhale, lift the left leg up. Start to point the toes to the sky. Now once you get those toes pointed and that leg long, you're going to press evenly between both those palms. Now bend your right knee and reach your right toes toward the front right corner of the mat. Good. Press evenly between those palms. Squaring up those hips. Swim the left leg around, up and through, finding that flamingo. Then coming high on those back toes to shift it forward, or dropping down to that right knee and swishing it around, up and through. Right hand into the mat, left arm reaches to the sky. We're really kicking back through that right heel and squeezing in that pelvic floor. Imagine a nice long line from that right palm all the way up, shooting to the sky. Then windmill it down, frame the foot. Let's give it a little hop, pressing into that standing foot, reaching that right leg into that L shape. Let the crown of the head hang heavy here. Make sure you're pressing up and out of that left foot and flexing that right. Release it down, Uttanasana, forward fold. Nice job. Inhale, half lift. Create that figure 7. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise. So move slowly, move mindfully as you inhale up. Release down to come up. Reach it to the sky. Make sure you're tucking that tailbone. Keep it tucked as you exhale for the back bend. Inhale, back up. Exhale, hands down through heart. Now rotate to the long side of your mat and step your right foot long. Watch out, Frankers. Good boy, thank you. Then we're going to bring those toes in a little bit. So you want to twist those toes in toward one another, heels out, toes in. This is going to activate your pelvic floor. This is going to create a nice stretch through the knife's edge of your feet, the pinky edges of your feet. Then bring your hands to your hips and make sure there's a little buoyancy in your knees. Hi, baby. Okay, I see you. Hi. Hi, good job. You stay right there, okay? And with the hands to the hips, we want to start to kick our hips back and fold it forward. Keep your spine nice and long and allow the crown of your head to fall toward the mat. Lay down, let me pet you. Lay down, let me pet you. Good boy, it's okay. Allow the crown of the head to release. The hands are down in between those legs. Maybe using some support here. Hi, baby. Hi. You're a good boy. I know, I see you. Hi. Hi. Good job. Maybe you allow the forearms to drop down into the mat. This is all going to depend on where you're at flexibility-wise with those thighs, with those hamstrings, with those glutes. Each time you inhale, lift the belly off those thighs a little bit and exhale to go a little deeper. I like to think about tucking my belly underneath my rib cage. On your next inhale, place the fingertips into the mat and come up for a half lift. Then exhale and forward fold. On On your next inhale, walk it over to that right ankle. Take the left hand and grab a hold of it. Then maybe you reach the right arm up to the sky or the right hand to the right hip and use that rotation to open up. Exhale, release it down. Come back to center. Inhale, come up, half lift. Exhale, let it fall. Other side, walking it over to the left, grabbing a hold of that left ankle with the right wrist. Left arm sweeps to the sky, or maybe dropping that left palm on top of that left hip. Smile, breathe, and release it down to exhale. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Now, place a significant bend in your knees, tear the mat apart, hands to hips, inhale up. Rotate those toes outward, heels inward. You might want to frog walk just in a little bit here. We're moving into a little goddess stretch, so opposite stretch of those hips. With the toes pointed out, heels inward. We want our knees to track past our toes. So if you start to bend your knees here and you're noticing the knees are going in front or behind those toes, just rotate those toes in or out so you can start to feel that knees tracking past toes. Here we want to think about that pelvic floor. So inhale, straighten up the legs. Let's find our torso first, okay? So think about those 3 cues we talk about here. Make sure there's a micro bend in those knees. We don't want to lock out here. I'm hypermobile, so I have that tendency to kind of lock out my joints, so I have to keep constantly reminding myself. The pelvic floor, remember, is like a bowl of ice cream, okay? We don't want our ice cream to fall out the front or to pour out the back. We want it to stay nice and in that pelvic floor. So this is that Kegel muscle they talk about. This is that pulling in of that root chakra, okay? And then we activate our corset here, our core center, by peeling the sternum down to meet the belly. It's a slight activation, but you should feel this in your midsection. Then the shoulders drop back and away. Start to sink it down. Start to find that goddess pose. So sink it down as far as feels good to keep that pelvic floor and that spine long, and then drop those hands into the thighs. As you inhale, lift up, and as you exhale, drop your right shoulder towards your left knee. Press away. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, press into the left thigh, left shoulder comes toward that right knee. Inhale up, once more on each side, pulling in that pelvic floor, drop the right shoulder toward the left knee. Inhale and exhale. Frankie just noticed the mirrors I have set up, so he's looking at me very strange. Inhale, reach those arms up, straighten up those legs. And exhale, hands down through heart as those knees go out. Inhale, reach. Exhale, bring it back down. Use that breath. Inhale up. Maybe you stick the tongue out on the exhale, create a lion's breath. 3 more. Inhale. Exhale, peel that energy in. Inhale up. Exhale. Really stretch that tongue if you're doing the lion's breath. Last one, reach. And exhale. Nice job. Inhale up, reach it up, then draw those hands down through heart. Rotate your toes forward this time. So 2 parallel lines with those feet. Hands to hips, knees micro bend, hinge it forward. Releasing down into a little wide leg forward fold. With the hands into the mat, heel toe, your feet back in. Bring your big toes to touch and leave a little separation between the heels. On your next inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise, trace that line, come on up. Be mindful of head rushes here. Use an exhale to release the fingertips down, and then inhale to reach those arms up. Tuck those shoulders back and away, and tuck your tailbone. Protect that spine as you back bend. Inhale, back up. Exhale, let's let the right arm come to an L shape out in front. Then swim your left arm underneath that L shape. We're going back into our eagle wrap pose, our Garudasana. So with our eagle wrap pose, you can bring the backs of the hands together here. You can get those palms to press together. Go for it. If this is all super intense, maybe reach around for a hug instead with that right arm on top, and we're still clawing those fingertips toward the center of the spine. Now, whether you're in the hug or in that full eagle wrap or half eagle wrap, there's a micro bend in your knees, okay? We're pulling in that pelvic floor and tightening that sternum to meet the belly button. Then we squeeze those shoulders back away from us. Imagine pulling your shoulder blades down your backside. Then lift through those elbows, bringing your fingertips up toward the sky. Soften your face. Relax your jaw. Now, start to sink it down into a little bit of a chair here. Lift up through your right toes and make sure that you have a full grace on that right foot. Then swim your left leg over. So at first that left toe might just tap next to it. Maybe you can get it to wrap up behind that right calf. Wherever you're at, you're reaching those toes like they're going to touch one day, and maybe sinking it down if you have it wrapped. One more deep breath, and unwind. Step that left foot wide, let those arms swish away, let something go here. Nice work. Stepping it in, heels and toes. Inhale, root to rise, reach for the sky. Exhale, tuck your tailbone, let something go with your back bend. Inhale up. Good, hands down through heart center for just a moment. Let's stretch out through those shoulders and that chin. Drop your chin toward the chest. Keep reaching the crown of the head forward and around. So don't just let everything kind of sink here. We're still keeping that nice lift through the spine, that tuck through the pelvic floor, that sternum to belly connection. Say thank you. Maybe say something nice to yourself here. Maybe just reflecting on something you're grateful for. Good, eye gaze forward. Inhale, reach it up. Now, reach those fingertips all the way up so the arms start to tighten by the ears. Now, peel your shoulders back and down. Create a little space between the head and the arms. Good. L shape with the left arm out in front. Swim the right arm underneath and see if you can interlace. Or you're grabbing for opposite shoulder blades. Wherever you are, you're peeling those shoulders back, and then you're lifting through those elbows, okay? Finding our nice eagle wrapped arms here, we start to sink it down into that buoyancy of the legs. With the left arm on top, we go opposite leg. So right leg over, maybe you interlace and wrap up. Squeezing here, reaching those toes as if they're gonna touch and wrap around one day. One more deep breath, and inhale out. Exhale, step it wide, swish it. Woo! Nice work, letting it go. Beautiful job, step it in, heels and toes. Inhale, reach it up for the sky. Tuck your tailbone as you exhale, back bend, let it go. Inhale up. Drop your hands down through heart center and slowly hinge it forward. Releasing down, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, rise halfway. Exhale, letting it go. Rotate back toward the long side of your mat. Walk your hands out to the top. Walk your feet toward the back. Starting to find your downward facing dog. Shake the head no. And nod it yes. Dropping down to the knees. Send those knees wide. Bring the big toes to touch. Sink your hips to your heels. Drop your forehead down to the mat and walk your arms out in front. Start to bring your palms together, walking those biceps nice and tight by the ears. As those palms come together, press through those fingertips and bend at the elbows, creating a little shark fin above the back of your neck. 2 more breaths here. Soften your face. Last round, inhale. Maybe press through the fingers here. And exhale to release the nice edge of those hands back down. Walk those arms out, shoulder distance apart. Inhale, shift it forward, find your palms. Bring your knees underneath you and sit back down to your heels. Nice work. Woo, it's hot in here today. Roll yourself from one side or to the other and kick your legs out nice and long. So I'm going to come to face you, but you can bring your legs out on the mat and get your heels down toward the end of the mat here. Start to flex through the feet and sit up nice and tall. Good. You can always have a micro bend in your knees to allow you to sit up nice and tall, but the first point of contact is that booty into the mat, right? So you're feeling your sit bones
the edges of your booty pushing into the mat, and then you press through the heels to sit up nice and tall. As you bring the shoulders back and down away from you, plug a little weight into those elbows to really feel the release. Good. Inhale, reach those arms up, keep the shoulders out of the ears, and exhale, start to hinge it forward. So maybe you bend through those knees a little bit as you hinge it forward. Bring the belly onto the thighs, keep those biceps by the ears, then release the hands down to grab a hold of the feet. Maybe you start to lengthen through those legs and allow the belly to fold and then round the forehead to meet the knees. Finding yourself in your own private little love cave here with the knees bent. Flexing those feet nice and hard. Feeling a nice release through that low spine. And on your inhale, I want you to press through the heels, straighten up through the legs, and trace a line up those legs as you come on up. Nice job. Bring the soles of the feet together. Go ahead and grab a hold of the ankles. Get the soles of the feet together for our cobbler's pose. So this is also known as butterfly or Baddha Konasana. Baddha Konasana is soles of the feet together here. Okay, and with the knees nice and wide, you're going to start to feel that stretch through the inner thighs. If you're not feeling it, if you're feeling it on the outer edge of your thighs towards your booty, it means you need to sit up a little taller. And if you're not sitting up that tall and you're really feeling that outer edge of the thighs, maybe you need to walk the feet away from you a little bit. Notice as soon as I walk the feet away, I'm like, whoa, I can sit up nice and tall, right? It becomes more and more of an intentional action when we start to peel those heels in. But if you sit up nice and tall, maybe the shoulders back, maybe you bring the collarbone forward, and think about bringing your chin parallel to the mat below. Couple of things can happen here. Maybe you hold on to those ankles and butterfly flap those knees. Maybe you hang out here, peeling on those ankles so you can peel your chest more forward, feeling a slight little back bend here, adding a stretch through the spine as you feel that stretch through the inner thighs. Maybe you bring your hands to your heart and use just the pressure of your feet to really activate here. Notice how it gives you a little bit of a kind of a bob around your body, right? It almost feels a little unsteady. Maybe even here you start to think about bringing the toe pads to touch, the tips of the toes, like we would our fingers, bring the toes together. It's a little more difficult than you'd expect. Good, now you can stay right here. Or if you want to add on, drop the hands down to the mat and start to walk your long spine. So don't round it out here, push away. So there's a little pushing and pulling sensation happening with the hands. We're pushing away on that spine and we're peeling ourselves forward. This should be increasing that inner thigh stretch, right where it wraps around your groin, right in those inner thighs. So if you're feeling it, awesome. If you're not, you might need to bring the feet in or lengthen that spine just a little bit more. Really imagine reaching the crown of the head from the tip of the tailbone. Maybe you walk it all the way down, making sure to keep that spine nice and long. I'm not ready for all the way down today, so I'm not going to show it. If you really, really want to go all the way down, you can always walk the soles of the feet away and then do it here. But I want you to notice how it changes the stretch to the outside of the hips when we're a little unprepared for it. Really what we're trying to work on is that inner thigh stretch with Baddha Konasana, okay? So we're reaching it forward if we feel that added stretch is necessary. We're peeling that chest forward for 5, 4, soften your jaw, don't clench here. And 1, start to walk those fingertips back and sit up nice and tall. Bring both knees in on the inhale, wrap your arms around those knees, and this time I want you to peel your belly button to your spine, rock back on those hips, and bring the forehead into the knees. I shouldn't say rock back on the hips, you're rocking back on the tailbone, not the hips. So we're actually allowing that bola suit to really tuck up and under. Good. Inhale, lift back up, opposite stretch. So peel on those knees, peel your collarbone forward, and then maybe your eye gaze comes up toward the ceiling or the sky. Good. Release the eye gaze forward, kick your left foot out. Bring your right foot across the left thigh. Still holding on here, okay? This time I want you to take the left arm and wrap it around the top of that right knee. Then take your right arm up to the sky and drop it back behind you, allowing the fingertips first, okay? So the fingertips touch first, then we drop that palm down to peel the shoulder away from the ear. Start to flex through that left foot and then rotate your gaze maybe past or toward that right shoulder. We're working to keep this right foot pressing into the mat. We're working to keep the length through that left leg by flexing that foot. Soften your jaw. Maybe you really peel that eye gaze past the right shoulder. On your next inhale, reach both arms up, opposite twist, just dropping both hands over to the left and maybe using that right forearm or right bicep to push against that right knee to open up. Drop the left hand down to drop the shoulder and maybe bend a little bit at that left elbow. Good, inhale, come back up, kick your right leg nice and long, walk your heels toward the mat. Good, bending at the left knee, cross it over that right. Give it a little hug so you can find that hip. Then swim that right arm around to grab a hold of that left leg. Swim the left arm up to the sky, drop it down behind you. Fingertips into the mat first so you can lift and lengthen the spine. Then flex your right foot and drop that left hand down to rotate that shoulder out and look past your left shoulder. Keep pressing through the big toe mound on this left foot. Keep pressing through your right heel to flex and lengthen. Maybe you really reach that eye gaze past the left shoulder. Breathing here, feeling the squish of the belly, rinsing and twisting our spine. And then inhale, reach it up. Exhale, drop both fingertips over to the right. Right hand down behind you, shoulder drops. And maybe you use the left arm to push away as you squish that left leg forward. You're pushing into it with the left hand. Good. Inhale, come back, reach it up, kick those feet out, and then drop both heels into the mat. And slowly, I gotta turn so I don't hit the wall. Slowly, you're gonna start to release it down. So really reach those fingertips out and keep your spine nice and long. Press through the big toe mounds to keep those feet glued. And find your spine, extend those feet out to the corners of the mat. Reach your arms nice and wide. Get those armpits some air. Soften your face. Soften your jaw. Now bring those hands overhead and then interlace the fingers and bring them behind the back of your head. Cradle the back of your head here with your hands. Good. Now bring both feet into the mat, about hips distance or maybe a little more apart. On your next inhale, we're going to lift the left knee and bring the right elbow to tap. Release it down. Try not to really pull through the head. Use the shoulders to get you up. So now right knee lifts, left elbow comes to tap. And we're really lifting that shoulder off to find this stretch. Right foot in. Left leg up, right elbow taps. Drop it down. Inhale, opposite, left to right knee. Drop it down. Inhale, right to left knee. Drop it down. Making sure you're not peeling on that neck. Lifting with the shoulder. Reaching with that elbow. The eye gaze turns to allow support through that neck. Just one more on each side. Lifting and tapping. You know what, let's make it 3 more on each side because I'm really starting to feel those obliques now, so you should be too. Left knee, right elbow, drop it down. Left knee, right knee. You know what I mean. Keep going, 2 more times on each side. I get so confused sometimes with my sides. And last time, each side, right elbow, left knee, drop it down. Left elbow, right knee, drop it down, and release. Reach those toes long, reach those fingertips long, a nice good morning stretch. Maybe take your fingertips and tap out the belly if that was intense for you. And then release it down, fingertips by your sides, feet out. Chin tucks towards the chest, lengthening that neck on the mat. Nice work. Moving into a little side belly twist here. Bring the right leg up and drop the right foot on top of the left thigh. Start to flex your left foot. Now take your left hand, reach it across to that right knee, grabbing the outside edge.
Take this right arm and drop it down so the whole inside of that right arm is on the ground. And then slowly start to peel your right knee toward the left side of the room. Now it's okay if this left knee never comes down to the floor, okay? It's all right. We're softening that left leg so we can feel a little massage through that left hip. And we're feeling the openness through the right cheek here. The important part is that we keep this right shoulder glued down to the mat. So maybe you take and walk those right fingertips away. The eye gaze can be up to the ceiling here or down toward those right fingertips. Take one more deep breath here, allowing yourself to fall just a little bit more to that left side. And then everything returns back to center. Grab a hold of that right knee, flex your feet and squeeze that right knee toward your right shoulder. Then switching it up. So right leg out, left knee in. Dropping the left foot onto the right thigh and flexing that right foot. Reaching the left arm nice and long. Make sure that that left shoulder blade is glued down to the mat. Turn that palm into the mat and then bring your right arm across the body to grab a hold of the outer edge of the left thigh. As you inhale, look up to the sky, and exhale, drop that left knee over to the right side of your mat, the right side of your room. Keeping the eye gaze up to the sky, or if that left shoulder's fully glued down to the mat, maybe you drop the eye gaze to the left fingertips. Breathing here, softening your face. Relaxing those feet, no need to flex here. We're feeling the twist through that left glute. Right into your cheek, into that lower back. One more big deep breath here, softening on the exhale. And bringing it back in on the inhale, interlacing the fingers over the shin and squeezing that left knee toward the left shoulder, flexing both those feet. Maybe retuck your chin to your chest if you feel like it wandered. And then dropping the left foot into the mat, bringing the right foot up to meet it. We have about a hip's distance in between our knees. If you ever want to measure, you could always take those fists side by side in between the knees here, and that'll kind of give you that visual. And also, you can also imagine like your head in between your knees. That's another visual you can take a look at. So we're going to be moving into a little bit of a bridge pose, so I want you to make sure that you're set up for success. And what that means is that with the feet into the mat, I want you to walk your shoulders back behind you and see if you can reach those heels. If you can just barely tickle those heels with the tips of the fingers, you're set up just right. Maybe that you can't quite tickle the heels yet. That's okay. One day you'll be able to walk these feet up close enough that you can tickle those heels. Again, if you're hypermobile like me, maybe you think you need to bring those heels all the way up. If you're able to grab a hold of your ankles here, you've gone a little bit too far. Maybe take a look at the video real quick. See how my knees are bypassing my ankles? We want to get those knees right over the ankles so we have a nice strong support system. Think about it. If a bridge were built with kind of bowed out sides like this, the bridge wouldn't hold up, right? So we want a nice strong support system. Soles of the feet into the mat, about hips distance. See, I should be able to just tickle those heels when I reach it down. Good. Now with the eye gaze up, tuck your chin into your chest. Start to reach those arms so the shoulders almost want to come underneath you and squeeze together. As you inhale, start to lift your booty off the mat. Maybe use your hands out to the sides, beside your body to press up. And as you're lifting up, think about bringing your shins towards your booty. That's going to allow a little bigger lift. And then I want you to think about bringing your chest towards your chin and then lift your chin to the sky. So once you get here, you might find it's a little more comfortable to pull those shoulders, pull those arms underneath you. You might even grab for opposite fists underneath your booty and use that fist to press your hips up. Now, don't let your knees splay outward. Squeeze them in like you're trying to hold that block, okay? Make sure you're keeping the eye gaze up to the ceiling. We don't want to turn our head in this posture. Inhale up a little higher. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. And then release those hands slowly, starting at the top of the spine. Release everything back down. Tuck the knees into the chest. Give yourself a great big hug. Moving slowly to bring that forehead up to meet the knees. Give them a little kiss. Good. Release it down. soles of the feet back to the mat, setting yourself back up for that bridge success. So reaching down for the tickle of the heels so we can make sure that those feet are right underneath the knees. And maybe this time you already start by rocking and rolling those shoulders and hands underneath you. Then as you inhale, lift it up, interlace those fists, squeeze your cheeks up to the sky. Imagine lifting your tailbone up to meet the sky, shins toward that booty. Then lift your chest toward your chin and then open up, lift your chin to the sky. We almost want to imagine there's an orange underneath that chin, and if we allow it to sink, we're going to squish that orange. We don't want orange juice pouring down our neck here. Lift it up a little higher, squeeze, 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 and slowly release it down. Counter pose, knees into the chest. Maybe rock it side to side here for a moment, feeling that low spine release. And then lift it up, forehead meets the knees. Maybe give them a little kiss. Tell them thank you. And release it down. Good, last round, okay? Just 3 rounds of the bridge pose today. We're really creating that back bend. We're really creating that openness through our hips here with this, okay? So again, setting yourself up for success. Walking those feet down or up so you can tickle the heels with the fingertips. Already starting to maybe roll to the sides of the body and bring those arms underneath you, okay? Then press through the feet. Inhale, lift the booty up, squeeze those shins towards your butt, and then bring those arms underneath you to squeeze and press those fingertips into the mat, pushing those hips up to the sky. Chest towards chin, chin towards sky, lift a little higher. Maybe you start to bend those elbows and create a shelf for your booty. Holding here for 5, 4, squeeze those inner thighs, and 1, slow release, letting it go. Bringing the knees toward the chest and rocking it side to side. Releasing it all here, taking a couple of deep breaths. And then drawing that forehead up to meet those knees. Give them that little kiss. Tell them thank you. And bring the feet down, maybe with the thud. Windshield wiper, keep windshield wipering those legs. And slowly starting to kick those feet down toward the end of your mat. Releasing those feet out nice and wide. Reaching those arms up today, really creating a starfish sensation. Now, you may find, because I know that some of us aren't used to having our arms up above our head, that your shoulders or your biceps get a little tired as we lay here. It's okay to move them if you need to, but try just kind of coming down the sides a little bit. Don't go straight into reaching back down in traditional Shavasana. We want to start to feel the openness of those armpits, allowing the inner arms to get some air, allowing that torso to get some air on the sides here. And taking a few moments here to soften your face. Relax your jaw, breathing deep, inhaling and exhaling here to let any other stuff that's coming up just fade away. So whether you realize it or not, Shavasana is the most important part of our practice. As we start to find a meditation practice, a stillness practice in our life, this Shavasana can be a huge support for that. Get all of our energy flowing and going and push some of that stagnant stuff out of the body through our movements, through our postures. And then when we come down into stillness, it's an opportunity to really feel the vibration of what's going on in your body. Maybe you're just feeling those cells vibrating all around the body. Just softening the breath here. No need to deepen it. No need to hold on to it. Just letting it come back to its natural rhythm. Smiling at yourself. Maybe taking that smile deep into your heart. Softening the face. Softening the jaw. Allowing the stillness to overtake you. Allowing the surrender in this space. Allowing the mat, to come up and support you. Allowing the stillness of the room around you to just envelop you in its waves. Each breath, thinking about bringing in strength and courage. And with each exhale, just softening to melt a little deeper. Maybe letting go of any tension that's building up anywhere in the body. As thoughts start to arise, just send them away like clouds in the sky. Like a little fuzz in the radio station. We get to turn the dial and sync it, hone it in to that channel. Maybe in this moment of stillness, you get to find your clarity. Again, there's no need to work through any problems here, no need to fix anything. Just allowing yourself the grace and space to acknowledge things that might be coming up and send them away. With just a little more softness, with just a little more releasing, letting go of that breath. Maybe you allow this to be a moment where you transition into staying in this Shavasana, maybe into your meditation. If you're already ready to come out, maybe roll it onto one side or the other and start to press yourself up. Maybe keeping those eyes closed just a moment longer before choosing to come out. Bringing both hands over the heart or to the heart in prayer, depending on what is in your practice. And just giving a gentle bow to the self, to the mat, to our yoga guides and gurus. Another last little blessing for our Mama Ganja, allowing us the opportunity to separate from that monkey mind and open up to the joy and the grace of our yoga flow. The love and light in me honors, respects, and reflects that very same light that shines out of you. I see it. Thank you for sharing your space, your home, your heart with me today. And with that, I'll leave you by saying, Namaste.